Let me speak to the soul in you that's been wounded in silence. Let me speak to the heart that's been overlooked, misunderstood, and underestimated. You've been through more than most people even know. The tears you cried weren't just from pain, they were prayers. They were spiritual warfare. They were offerings. Because you, chosen one, have always carried something sacred inside you. Something the world tried to silence before it ever had the chance to fully bloom. They tried to break you, not because you were weak, but because they saw your strength, because they sensed your light. Even before you realized how brightly you could shine, you confused them. You didn't fit their mold. You didn't bend to their control. So they did what people do when they don't understand the anointing. You became a target. They mocked your journey, ridiculed your dreams, and tried to bury your identity under lies, manipulation, and betrayal. But what they didn't see was the hand of God on your life. What they never counted on was the divine protection surrounding your purpose. They thought the fire would consume you, but God used it to refine you. They thought isolation would break you, but it deepened your connection with Him. They thought rejection would crush you, but it redirected you into His perfect will. What they meant for evil, God has already started turning for your good, and not just for your good, for your glory. The kind of glory that doesn't come from man but from the throne of heaven. People see the surface, but God saw the seed, and while they were busy trying to dig your grave, God was digging your roots deeper into purpose. You survived storms that should have taken you out. You endured warfare that would have broken anyone else, but you're still here. You didn't fold. You didn't turn back. You may have crawled, cried, and questioned, but you never quit. And because of that, heaven is about to reward you publicly for what you endured privately. Listen closely. This is not the end of your story. This is the part where everything shifts, where the tables turn, where the stone that the builders rejected becomes the cornerstone. What they tried to destroy, God preserved, and not just preserved, but prepared for impact, for influence, for divine elevation. You were chosen for this, handpicked for this, forged in fire and filled with purpose. So don't you dare shrink back now. Don't you dare question your worth. You didn't survive all of that to live a small life. You didn't walk through all of that pain just to settle for less than the promise. God is about to flip the script. The same ones who dismissed you will watch you be crowned. The same ones who mocked you will witness your miracle. Because this next season of your life is proof that no weapon formed against you could prosper. This is your confirmation. This is your reminder. This is your divine wake-up call. Comment "I receive this" if you feel this in your spirit. Because this message isn't for the crowd, it's for the remnant. For the one who knows in their bones, I was never meant to break. I was meant to rise. Let's be clear about something. The attacks on your life were never random. The pain, the betrayal, the rejection, the confusion, it didn't just happen. It was strategic. It was spiritual. The enemy saw your calling long before you understood it. Hell recognized your name before heaven ever revealed your assignment to you. That's why you couldn't have a normal life. That's why you were attacked in childhood, targeted in your relationships, and surrounded by people who tried to clip your wings before you even learned how to fly. You were marked, not for destruction, but for destiny. And that mark made you a threat to every force of darkness that ever tried to control your bloodline. You ever wonder why your struggles felt so personal? Why the warfare came so early and so heavy? It's because the enemy didn't want you to wake up. He didn't want you to discover the power within you. He wanted you to believe you were broken, that you were unworthy, that you were forgotten. Because if he could plant those lies deep enough, you might never rise into who you were born to become. But what he didn't count on was your resilience. You were built differently, molded in fire, covered in grace. even when you didn't know how to pray. Heaven was interceding for you, even when you didn't know who you were. God was still orchestrating every step. The attacks weren't a sign that you were cursed, they were confirmation that you are chosen. You've always had a light that made dark spirits tremble. And that's why people were drawn to you but couldn't handle you. That's why you were betrayed by the ones you loved the most. That's why people copied you, yet rejected you, because your authenticity exposed their pretending. Your presence disrupted their comfort zones. Your calling challenged every lie they built their identity on. But let this truth settle into your spirit. If the attack was this intense, the anointing must be even greater. The more you were attacked, the more heaven was preparing you. The deeper the pain, the higher the purpose, the greater the pressure, the more valuable the vessel. So don't look at the attacks as setbacks. See them as setups, divine training grounds. Every tear watered your future. Every scar is a testimony, and every battle you survived is proof that there's something in you hell couldn't kill. They tried to silence you, but now your voice will be heard. They tried to bury you, but didn't know you were a seed. They tried to curse you, but God already blessed you. And now, it's your time. You're not just surviving, you're about to thrive. Not by your strength, but by His Spirit. The enemy tried to write your ending, but heaven's not done with your story. Keep walking, keep rising. The attack was real, but so is your victory. You remember that moment when you almost gave up? When the pressure was so heavy it felt like it would crush you? When the betrayal cut so deep you wondered if you'd ever trust again? When the nights were filled with tears, and the days were filled with silence? That wasn't just a breaking point. That was the turning point. Because right when it looked like it was over, God stepped in. And when He steps in, everything changes. You didn't see it at first. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. God doesn't always part the sea with thunder. Sometimes He just begins to shift the atmosphere quietly. He moves in silence but leaves evidence. Things you didn't even pray for started aligning. The people who left you were replaced with divine connections. The doors that closed in your face redirected you to ones you were born to walk through. There was a shift, and you could feel it in your spirit before you saw it with your eyes. God began to show you why the heartbreak happened, why the storm had to hit, why the foundation had to be shaken. Because He was clearing the room for His glory. He was separating the fake from the faithful. He was purging the distractions and preparing you for the promise. And while the enemy thought you were buried, heaven knew you were being planted. That's when your discernment began to increase. That's when your dreams started speaking louder. That's when peace became your weapon and worship became your warfare. You weren't crazy, you were awakening. God stepped in and reminded you who you are. Not broken, not lost, not forgotten, but chosen, covered, called, anointed, equipped. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you go through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." That was not just a promise for ancient times. That was your story. You've walked through fire and came out without the smell of smoke. Why? Because God was in the fire with you. He stepped into your situation and flipped it in your favor. He took what the enemy meant for evil and is turning it for good. He's using your pain to push you into purpose. The shift has already begun. You're not who you used to be. You've outgrown the old patterns, the old people, the old fears. You are walking in a new level of power, clarity, and authority, and this is just the beginning. Because when God steps in, He never leaves you the same. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the dust settles. The storm passes, and you realize you didn't just survive, you've been transformed. Everything they did to break you, to silence you, to strip you of your confidence and identity, is now being used as fuel for your elevation. You are not who you were before the pain. And that's the point. They saw your downfall as the end, but God saw it as the beginning. They saw weakness, but God saw surrender. They saw brokenness, but God saw the perfect opportunity to rebuild you stronger, deeper, and more connected to Him than ever before. What they meant for evil, God turned for good. That isn't just a verse. That's your story. That's your testimony. And it's unfolding right now, whether you feel it or not. Because God wastes nothing. Not one tear, one sleepless night, one betrayal. Every piece of your suffering is being recycled into purpose. Every attack was secretly building spiritual muscles you didn't even know you had. And now that foundation, it's becoming unshakable. You've been tried by fire, and fire never destroys gold. It purifies it. You've been through the wilderness, but wilderness doesn't mean punishment. It means preparation. Jesus was led into the wilderness before His ministry began. Joseph was betrayed and thrown into a pit before he was promoted to the palace. David was hiding in caves before he ever wore a crown. So why would it be any different for you? The delay wasn't denial, it was development. The rejection wasn't failure, it was redirection. And the heartbreak? It was heaven's way of removing attachments that couldn't go where you're headed. This is why you didn't fit in. Why doors shut. Why people turned cold. Because God was separating you, sanctifying you, setting you apart. You were being positioned for a level of glory that only comes through suffering. You were being carved into a vessel that could carry the weight of divine authority, not just for yourself, but for others too. Because the glory on your life isn't just about you. It's about who's watching you. It's about those who'll see how far God brought you. It's about those who said you wouldn't make it and now have to witness God's favor, falling all over your life. It's about those who are secretly drawing hope from your story. This is why the enemy fought you so hard. Because you are the evidence. The evidence that God still heals. The evidence that God restores. The evidence that no plan of the enemy can cancel the promise God placed on your life. They thought they were silencing you. But heaven was just turning up the volume. They thought they were burying you. But they didn't know you were a seed. And now, God is raising you up in plain sight. He's preparing a table right in front of your enemies, and they will have no choice but to watch you eat. Watch you rise, watch you glow, watch you thrive in the very area they tried to destroy you in. This is your glory season, not because everything is easy, but because now you walk in divine confidence. Now you speak with spiritual authority. Now you pray with unshakable faith. The old version of you was powerful, but this version, refined by fire, tested through pain, and covered in glory, unstoppable. This is your reward for not giving up, for praising through the pain, for worshiping when you had nothing left, for trusting when everything around you was shaking. And now, heaven is responding. Doors are opening, chains are breaking, favor is flowing, and your name is being spoken in rooms you've never even entered. This is what it looks like when God turns the pain into power. This is what it means when He uses all things for your good. This is glory, and this is only the beginning. Chosen one, hear this loud and clear. There's a move of God happening right now, not in the distant future. Next year. When everything is perfect, right now. And the greatest tragedy would be to survive all you've survived. Carry all you've carried, and then miss the moment you were born for. This isn't the time to fall back into fear. This isn't the time to slip into comfort, complacency, or distraction. The enemy's last resort is distraction. If he can't destroy you, he'll delay you. If he can't take your purpose, he'll try to blind you to it. He'll try to lure you back into old habits, old relationships, old mindsets, because he knows what's coming next if you stay aligned with God. You've already come too far to turn back now. You've cried too many tears to go back to what broke you. You've grown too much in silence to shrink yourself for people who never saw your value in the first place. This is your moment of decision. Because God is moving, He's shifting, He's elevating, but He won't force you to go higher. He'll only invite you. Don't miss the invitation. Some people think they have more time, but the truth is, there's an open window in the Spirit right now. A divine opening, a door that God has unlocked specifically for you, but it won't stay open forever. And if you don't walk through it, someone else will. This is the season where obedience matters more than comfort, where discernment matters more than opinions, where surrender matters more than strategy. You don't need another sign. You don't need more confirmation. God has already shown you what to do, who you are, and what you carry. The only question is, will you step into it? Because delaying obedience is still disobedience, and disobedience in this season can cost you your promise. The move of God is bigger than a feeling. It's bigger than a vibe. It's a divine alignment that changes the trajectory of everything connected to you. And when God starts moving in your life, you have two choices: move with Him or miss it. Don't miss it. Don't let fear win. Don't let comparison steal your momentum. Don't let doubt shut down your voice. Don't let the enemy convince you that you're not ready. OT worthy, OT called, because if you weren't a threat, you wouldn't be under attack. This is the final stretch, the final test, the final push. God is asking, will you trust me now? Will you obey me now? Will you step out when nothing makes sense and just believe that I'm still with you, chosen one? This is not the time to fall asleep. This is the time to rise. Chosen one, now is the time, not tomorrow, not when things feel easier. Right now, in the middle of the uncertainty, in the middle of the pressure, in the middle of everything trying to distract you, this is where your divine comeback begins. This isn't just about recovery. It's about resurrection. Everything the enemy tried to kill in you, your faith, your voice, your purpose, your passion, God is breathing life into it again. You thought it was over, but heaven says it's just beginning. You were not buried. You were planted. And now it's time to rise. But this comeback doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. You must choose to believe what God said about you over what the world tried to label you. You must choose to walk in purpose even when the path is unfamiliar. You must choose to speak even when fear tells you to stay quiet. Your comeback is not about proving anything to people. It's about aligning with God's original blueprint for your life. It's about stepping into the version of you that's always been hidden beneath the pain, the trauma, and the lies. This is the moment where you stop shrinking to fit old rooms, where you stop apologizing for your light, where you stop delaying the assignment God put on your life just to make others comfortable. You were born for this, and the same God who kept you through the tears, the betrayal, the warfare, the silence, He is now lifting you up in front of those who thought you were finished. But it takes movement. Faith without action is dead, and glory without obedience is delayed. You've got to step forward, even if you're afraid, even if you feel unqualified, even if it doesn't make sense yet. Because your next breakthrough isn't waiting for perfect conditions. It's waiting for your obedience. This is your comeback season. So get back to the mission. Get back in alignment. Speak like you've already won. Walk like you know who you are. Pray like heaven is backing every word. Because it is. You're not who they said you were. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. And every scar is a prophecy of victory. Let the world see what God does with someone who refuses to quit. Let your life be the proof that what tried to destroy you only built your throne. Your comeback is already written. Now walk in it. Chosen one, you've come a long way. Every battle, every hardship, every trial, God used it all for your glory. What they meant for evil, God has turned it into fuel for your fire. Every moment of rejection, every word that tried to break you, Every attack that came against your mind, body, and spirit, God allowed it to refine you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for this moment. You are not who you once were. You are not the same person who struggled to understand why things happened the way they did. No, you are a warrior who has emerged from the fire as pure gold. You are a testimony to the power of God's grace, mercy, and favor. What others saw as your downfall, God saw as your elevation. The world tried to make you small, to make you doubt your purpose. But God was always right there, in the middle of the storm, saying, I'm making you stronger. I'm molding you for something greater. And now, you stand at the threshold of something extraordinary. You're not just surviving, you are thriving. You are walking into your destiny. A destiny that was written long before you even knew who you were. The glory that's coming to your life, the doors opening, the favor pouring in, the anointing increasing, it was all part of the plan. The pain was never permanent. It was just preparation for the purpose that's now unfolding before you. As you step into this new chapter, remember, God has already secured your victory. You're walking in power, walking in promise, walking in the anointing that the enemy could never take away from you. You are marked by God, and everything He has planned for you will come to pass. Nothing can stop it. So, don't look back at the storms. Don't look back at the moments when you thought you couldn't make it. Look ahead at the throne He's calling you to. Look ahead at the people you're called to inspire, to lead, and to serve. You are the chosen one, and God is getting ready to show the world just how glorious His work is in you. This is your season of restoration, your season of elevation, your season of manifestation. Now walk boldly in your calling. You are a reflection of God's glory, and His glory is unstoppable. Everything they did to try and break you only made you stronger. And now, you stand as living proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You are God's chosen one, and nothing can stop you. Chosen one, I want you to hear this. The victory is already yours. You've walked through the storm, and you've come out victorious. The battle was never yours to fight alone. God has been with you every step of the way, and now He's leading you into a new season of divine favor, purpose, and glory. You may have faced moments of doubt, struggle, and even heartache, but know that each moment was a setup for your comeback. What they intended for your harm, God has already turned it for your good. The struggles you've endured have been the very things that shaped you into the mighty warrior you are today. You are more than a conqueror. You are an overcomer, and this is just the beginning. Now it's time to walk in your purpose, to claim your inheritance, and to step boldly into the destiny that has been ordained for you. Every setback was just a divine setup for the incredible things that are ahead. Your future is bright, and God's favor is upon you in ways that will leave others amazed. As you move forward, remember this truth. You are unstoppable. No force, person, obstacle can stand against the power and purpose that God has placed inside of you. So don't shrink back. Don't hold yourself back from stepping into the fullness of what God has for you. The time is now. You are a living testimony of God's grace, strength, and faithfulness, and the world is about to witness His glory shining through your life in ways you could never have imagined. The best is yet to come, and you are walking into it right now. There's something different about you. Something unexplainable, something powerful. You may not have always understood it, but deep down, you have always known that you were set apart. You are not like everyone else. You don't fit in with the crowd. You move differently. You think differently. And whether people admit it or not, they feel it. From the moment you were born, a divine hand has been over your life. You are one of God's chosen ones. This means you carry something special within you, something that cannot be imitated, something that cannot be stolen. You have a light that shines even when you don't try. You have a presence that shifts the atmosphere when you walk into a room. Some people are drawn to it, others are intimidated by it, and many do not understand why they react to you the way they do. But here's the truth: it is not just you they see. It is the anointing on your life. And because you are chosen, you are also protected. There are spiritual laws that govern the lives of those marked by God. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. This is not just a verse, it is a reality. When people try to come against you, when they mistreat you, when they cause you pain, they are not just hurting you, they are coming against a divine force greater than themselves. And whether they realize it or not, there are always consequences. Throughout history, those who have wronged God's anointed have faced downfall, exposure, and even destruction. It is an unseen law of the universe: what is done to a chosen one will always return to the sender. You may not always see it immediately, but justice is always served. So if you have ever cried over betrayal, if you have ever been hurt by people who underestimated you, if you have ever been mistreated by those who thought they could get away with it, understand this: your tears are not in vain. You don't have to fight battles with your own hands, because the moment a chosen one is wronged, divine intervention is set in motion. You may not have seen the full consequences yet, but just watch. There are laws in the spiritual realm that cannot be broken without consequences. These laws are not based on human justice or personal revenge, but on divine order. When you hurt a chosen one, you are not just hurting a person, you are interfering with a divine plan. You are touching someone who is covered, protected, and set apart by God. And the moment harm is done, whether through words, betrayal, deception, or mistreatment, a spiritual reaction is triggered. One of the greatest spiritual laws that governs the lives of the chosen is found in Scripture. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. This is not a warning, it is a decree. It means that those who rise against God's people are not just dealing with them personally. They are dealing with God Himself. And God does not take it lightly when His anointed ones are attacked. You may have noticed this in your own life. People who have wronged you in the past suddenly start experiencing setbacks. Relationships fall apart, finances dry up, plans fail, hidden sins come to light. It is not coincidence, it is spiritual law in motion. When someone mistreats a chosen one, they set themselves up for consequences they never saw coming. Think of Joseph in the Bible. His own brothers sold him into slavery, thinking they had destroyed his destiny. But what happened? Joseph rose to power, and those who betrayed him were forced to come back to him for help. This is how divine justice works. The one they tried to break became the one they had to bow before. Another example is Haman in the book of Esther. He plotted against Mordecai, a man chosen by God. He built gallows to hang him, fully expecting to see his enemy fall. But what happened? The very trap he set for Mordecai became his own downfall. He was executed on the same gallows he built for the chosen one. This is why you do not need to seek revenge when people come against you. You are covered. Their actions are recorded in the spiritual realm, and repayment is handled by forces far greater than you. The weight of divine justice is something no man can escape. Many people do not realize that when they lie on you, betray you, or cause you pain, they are digging their own pit. They believe they are getting away with it because consequences do not always come immediately. But that is the deception. The judgment of God is always on time, and when it comes, it is undeniable. This is why you must remain still and let divine order take its course. The people who thought they could mistreat you, walk away, and continue life as usual will soon realize that they made a fatal mistake. Because no one can touch a chosen one and remain the same. There is a battle happening that many cannot see. But if you are a chosen one, you have felt it. You've lived it. You've endured storms that most people wouldn't survive. You've walked through betrayal, rejection, isolation, and pain that words could never fully express. The world has tried to break you. The enemy has tried to silence you, and people have wounded you in ways they will never apologize for. But through it all, you remain standing, and your tears have been speaking louder than words in the spiritual realm. Most people do not realize the weight of a chosen one's tears. When you cry, you are not just releasing emotions, you are making a spiritual declaration. Your tears carry power, and they are seen, heard, and recorded by the one who called you. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Psalm 56:8. This means that every moment of suffering, every injustice, and every betrayal has been witnessed. And when heaven sees your tears, divine intervention is set in motion. The world underestimates tears, but God does not. They think that when you cry, it means you are weak, broken, or powerless. But in reality, your tears are the reason justice is coming. When a chosen one cries, heaven responds. Your tears are not ignored. They are a call to action in the spiritual realm. Think about Hannah in the Bible. She was mocked and humiliated for being barren. She carried the pain of being looked down upon, treated as less than, and made to feel like she had no worth. But what did she do? She didn't seek revenge. She didn't fight back. She cried out to God. She poured out her soul in deep anguish, and her tears unlocked her blessing. The very thing her enemies mocked her for became the thing God used to elevate her. She gave birth to Samuel, a prophet who would anoint kings and change history. There is a pattern with God. He does not allow His chosen ones to suffer for nothing. If He allows pain, it is because He is preparing a greater victory. The people who caused your tears will one day see the result of what they did. They will see that the pain they caused you only made you stronger, only brought you closer to your purpose, only unlocked a greater level of anointing over your life. Look at Joseph. He was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Can you imagine the nights he spent crying, wondering why the very people he loved did this to him? But his tears were not ignored. What happened in the end? The same brothers who betrayed him had to bow before him. They had to come to him for help. Joseph's tears did not weaken him, they positioned him for the throne. And then there is Jesus, the Son of God, walking in pure love, was hated, mocked, and betrayed. He wept in the Garden of Gethsemane, knowing the suffering ahead. He was beaten, crucified, and abandoned. But his suffering was not the end, it was the beginning of victory. His tears were followed by resurrection, by power, by glory. This is what happens to a chosen one. Your pain is not the end of your story. Your tears are birthing something greater. The people who thought they could mistreat you and walk away as if nothing happened will soon understand that when they made you cry, they sealed their own judgment. The unseen battle is this: the enemy wants you to believe that your pain has been wasted, that your suffering is meaningless. He wants you to believe that no one saw what happened, that no one will ever face consequences for what they did to you. But the truth is, justice has already been written. The people who mistreated you will have to face what they did. The very things they did to you will come back on them. And as for you, your tears have already declared your victory. The suffering they caused you will become the reason you are elevated. The pain they inflicted will become the testimony that sets others free. The things they did in the dark will be exposed in the light. And you will rise above it all, not in bitterness, but in power. So if you have ever felt like crying was a sign of defeat, understand this: your tears have already declared your victory. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing, because the battle has already been won. One of the greatest deceptions in this world is the belief that people can mistreat others, harm the innocent, betray the ones who love them, and somehow escape the consequences. They believe that because they got away with it in the moment, because they weren't struck down immediately, because no one held them accountable, they are free to continue their ways. But what they fail to realize is that justice does not operate on their timeline. It operates on God's. And when divine justice arrives, it is swift, it is precise, and it is undeniable. Many people do not understand how spiritual laws work. They think karma is just a vague concept, something that might happen, something they can avoid. But in reality, karma is just another word for God's divine justice in motion. The Bible says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap." Galatians 6-7. This is not just a warning, it is a universal law. No one escapes what they plant in the lives of others. For a time, people may seem like they are prospering off of their deception. They may appear to be living well after hurting you. They may even laugh at the pain they caused, thinking it had no effect. But what they don't see is the unseen forces already moving against them. There's an appointed time for everything. And just as a seed takes time to grow before it is harvested, so do the consequences of their actions. When someone wrongs a chosen one, the consequences are even greater. This is because chosen ones do not fight battles in the physical, they fight in the spiritual. Your pain was not wasted. Your tears were not ignored. Every wound they inflicted on you was recorded. And in due time, the scales of justice will balance. The thing about divine justice is that it comes suddenly. People expect consequences to be immediate, but God moves when they least expect it. One moment they are laughing, enjoying their deception, feeling invincible, and the next moment, everything starts crumbling. The job they thought was secure is taken away. The relationship they betrayed you for falls apart. The same trap they set for you, they fall into themselves. Their health declines. Their mind becomes restless. Their peace is shattered, because what they sent out is now coming back full force. Look at what happened to Pharaoh. He enslaved the Israelites, mocked their suffering, and refused to let them go. For a time, it looked like he was untouchable. He ignored warning after warning. But when judgment finally came, it came swiftly. His kingdom was destroyed. His people suffered, and he lost everything. Or think about Haman in the Bible. He plotted against Mordecai, tried to have him killed, and built gallows for him. He was so sure of his success, so arrogant in his deception. But in the end, he was hanged on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. The trap he set for someone else became the trap that took him down. This is the power of divine justice. What people do in the dark will always be exposed in the light. What they sow in wickedness, they will reap in destruction. When they hurt a chosen one, they are not just coming against a person, they are coming against the divine protection around that person. And when you go against God's anointed, you are setting yourself up for a fall. If you have ever wondered why it seems like the people who hurt you are facing setbacks, chaos, and sudden misfortune, understand this: it is not a coincidence. It is divine justice in motion. They mocked you, but now they are being humbled. They betrayed you, but now they are being betrayed. They caused you pain, but now they are feeling that same pain multiplied. The biggest mistake they made was thinking they could escape. But no one escapes divine law. There's no hiding from the consequences of their actions. And the longer they ignore it, the heavier the judgment will be when it arrives. So do not waste time seeking revenge. Do not lower yourself to their level. Stand still and watch, because justice is already on its way. There comes a point in every chosen one's journey where you feel like stopping. You feel like the weight is too much. The attacks are too heavy, and the journey is too lonely. You wonder if it's all worth it. If you should just blend in. If you should just give up. But deep down, something inside you won't let you quit. That's because you were never meant to stay where you are. You were meant to keep walking. The trials you have faced were never meant to break you. they were meant to strengthen you. Every betrayal, every hardship, every moment of isolation was not a punishment, it was preparation. God has been refining you in the fire, shaping you into the warrior He created you to be. The enemy attacked you so much because he saw the power in you, before you even recognized it yourself. But here's the truth. The fact that you are still standing, still fighting, still believing means you have already won battles you don't even know about. Remember, the road of the chosen is not meant to be easy. The Bible says in Matthew 7:14, "But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." You were not made to follow the crowd. You were not meant to fit in. You were set apart, and that means your path will be different. It will be filled with tests, but those tests will bring elevation. It will be filled with battles, but those battles will bring power. Think of all the times you wanted to give up, yet somehow you found the strength to keep going. That was not an accident. That was divine strength carrying you. Every time they tried to break you, you rebuilt yourself stronger. Every time they tried to silence you, your voice became louder. Every time they tried to stop you, you kept walking. That is the mark of the chosen. They will wonder why you haven't collapsed under the weight of what you've been through. They will wonder how you are still rising when they did everything to destroy you. But what they don't understand is your strength doesn't come from this world, it comes from God. The battles you have faced would have destroyed the average person. But you are not average. You are chosen. And because you are chosen, you must keep walking. The enemy wants you to stop because he knows what happens if you keep going. He knows that if you rise to your full potential, you will break generational curses. You will shift atmospheres. You will change lives. You will walk in the divine authority that has been placed over you since birth. He wants to exhaust you, distract you, and make you feel like you are alone so that you give up right before your breakthrough. But don't fall for it, even when you don't see the full picture. Trust the process, even when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. Trust the journey. Every step you take is leading you closer to the promise. Every hardship you endure is shaping you for the blessings ahead. You are not walking in vain, so keep walking. Chosen one, keep pushing forward. Keep standing strong, because your story is not over. Your best chapters are still being written. And when the time comes, the world will see why you never gave up. There's something the world fails to understand about the chosen ones. Time and time again, they mistake your kindness for weakness. They assume that because you are quiet, because you move differently, because you do not engage in the same tactics they do, that you are powerless. But what they fail to realize is a chosen one is never truly alone. The battles you fight are not fought by flesh and blood. The moment someone moves against you, they are not just fighting you, they are fighting the divine protection over your life. Many have tried to come against you, thinking they could destroy you with their lies, their betrayal, their deceit. Some have celebrated when they thought they had broken you. They assumed that because they saw you down, you would stay there. They laughed, they mocked, they rejoiced in your suffering. But what they didn't realize is you were never losing. You were being prepared. The Bible warns in Psalm 105, "Do not touch my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm." This is not just a suggestion, it is a spiritual law. When someone harms a chosen one, they are not harming just another person. They are interfering with a divine mission. And when they do that, the consequences are severe. Many people who have wronged you are already facing those consequences. They may not say it, they may not show it, but they feel it. The moment they mistreated you, things in their life started shifting. Opportunities started closing. The peace they once had disappeared. The relationships they valued started falling apart. What they took from you did not bring them the happiness they expected. Because when you move against someone who walks with divine favor, you set yourself up for a fall. Look at history. Every time someone tried to destroy a person who was walking in their divine calling, they ended up destroying themselves. Look at Joseph. His own brothers sold him into slavery, thinking they had ruined his destiny. But instead, he rose to a position of power where he had the ability to save an entire nation. Look at David. Saul hunted him, tried to kill him, tried to remove him from his purpose. But in the end, it was David who became king, while Saul's kingdom fell apart. The pattern is clear. You cannot destroy what God has anointed. You cannot block what has already been set in motion. You cannot curse what has already been blessed. This is why the enemy fears you. This is why you have faced so much opposition. He sees what is on your life. He sees the power that is growing within you. And he uses people to try to stop you before you fully step into it. But here's the truth: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. They may try, but they will fail. They may attack, but it will not break you. They may plot, but God will turn their schemes into your elevation. So let this be a warning to those who underestimate a chosen one. You are not someone to be played with. The moment they try to harm you, they activate divine consequences they cannot escape. The moment they move against you, they position themselves for their own downfall. And when that judgment comes, there will be no one to save them. To you, the chosen one, stand firm. You do not need to seek revenge. You do not need to lower yourself to their level. Just keep walking in your purpose and watch how God handles everything they tried to do against you. Chosen one, you have been through the fire. You have endured betrayal, rejection, and attacks that should have broken you. But here you are, still standing, still rising, still walking in your divine purpose. Everything that was meant to destroy you only made you stronger. Every setback was a setup for something greater. Every tear you cried watered the seeds of your future blessings. And now, the time is coming when all will see what God has been doing in your life behind the scenes. Those who doubted you will have no choice but to witness your rise. Those who mocked you will be silenced by the magnitude of your breakthrough. Those who tried to block you will realize they were only pushing you closer to your destiny. Because when God's hand is on your life, nothing and no one can stop your elevation. Remember, God does not waste pain. Every struggle had a purpose. Every delay had a reason. And now, the season of waiting is coming to an end. You are stepping into a new realm of power, favor, and divine alignment. What took others years to achieve will come to you effortlessly. The doors that were once closed will swing open. The tables that you were denied a seat at will no longer matter, because God is preparing a table just for you. In the presence of those who once looked down on you, the elevation that is coming will not be ordinary. It will be supernatural. It will be undeniable. And it will be unstoppable. This is why you have been tested so much. This is why you have been attacked so heavily. Because your calling is too great. Your anointing is too powerful. And your destiny is too significant to be hidden any longer. So stand tall, chosen one. Walk in confidence. Move in faith, because the shift is happening. And there is nothing the enemy can do to stop it. Watch how God elevates you. Watch how He turns your pain into purpose. Watch how He makes every battle you fought worth it. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Stay ready, stay faithful, and most importantly, stay chosen. This is not just another message. This is not a coincidence. If you are here, hearing these words, it means God is trying to reach you one last time before it's too late. There is something powerful happening in the spirit realm right now. And you can feel it. You've sensed it for a while. You know deep down that something is shifting. Something is changing, and you are being called higher. The problem is, many of God's chosen ones are still asleep. They are still caught up in distractions, still weighed down by fear, still surrounded by the wrong people, still delaying their purpose because they think they have more time. But the truth is, time is running out. Look at the world around you. The signs are everywhere. Everything is shifting politically, financially, spiritually, socially. The systems that have controlled people for so long are crumbling. The deception is being exposed. The battle between light and darkness is no longer hidden, it is in plain sight. And yet, so many people refuse to see it. You cannot afford to be one of them. If you have been feeling restless, anxious, like you are standing at a crossroads, that is not random. That is God pulling you, calling you, trying to wake you up. Maybe you've been experiencing unusual attacks, struggles in your finances, your relationships, your mind. Maybe you've been dealing with constant delays, feeling stuck, unable to move forward no matter what you do. That is spiritual warfare. The enemy is fighting to keep you from stepping into your calling because he knows that once you do, his control over your life is broken. But here's the dangerous part: many chosen ones are ignoring the warning signs. God has been speaking, but they have not been listening. He has been closing doors, but they keep trying to reopen them. He has been separating them from certain people, but they keep running back. He has been shaking up their lives to wake them up, but they keep pressing snooze. And here's the truth: if you ignore this now, don't blame God later. You cannot delay any longer. The doors of opportunity will not stay open forever. The season of preparation is ending. God is now looking for those who are ready to step into position, who are willing to obey, who are ready to leave behind the old and walk into their divine purpose. So this is your moment. This is your final wake-up call. If you feel this message resonating in your soul, do not ignore it. This is not the time to second-guess, to hesitate, to let fear keep you bound. The worst thing you can do is hear this message, feel the truth in it, and still do nothing. Because if you choose to stay where you are, if you choose to ignore this final warning, then do not blame God later when the consequences come. Will you listen, or will you wait until it's too late? The choice is yours. God is not silent. He has been speaking to you in ways that you cannot ignore. The question is, have you been paying attention? Many people expect God to speak in a loud, dramatic way, but often, He speaks through subtle signs, through experiences, through people, and through the shifts happening around you. Look back on your life over the past few months, or even the past few years. Have you noticed cycles repeating? Have you felt a sense of urgency in your spirit, like something is about to change? Have you seen relationships falling apart, doors closing, things being stripped away from you? That is not by accident. That is God moving. Maybe you've been feeling disconnected from the people around you, realizing that certain friendships or relationships no longer align with who you are becoming. That is not rejection. That is redirection. God is removing the wrong people so He can bring the right ones. Maybe your plans keep failing. No matter how hard you try, you take one step forward and get pushed 2 steps back. You keep praying for things to work out, but they don't. That is not bad luck. That is divine intervention. God is closing the wrong doors so you won't waste time on something that is not meant for you. Maybe you've been struggling financially, mentally, emotionally. The pressure has been intense, and you've been wondering why life seems so much harder than it is for others. That's because you are not like everyone else. The enemy fights those who are dangerous to his kingdom. The fact that you are going through so much is proof that you are chosen. And look at the world around you. The signs are everywhere. The deception is being exposed. The systems that once controlled everything are breaking down. The truth is being revealed. People's true intentions are coming to light. What was once hidden is now out in the open. Yet, despite all of these signs, many people are still asleep. Many are still caught up in distractions, umbing themselves with entertainment, social media, toxic relationships, and temporary pleasures. They see the truth but refuse to acknowledge it. They hear the warnings but choose to ignore them. But you, chosen one, you cannot afford to be like them. If you have been sensing that God is trying to get your attention, if you have been feeling like something big is about to happen, you are right. The shift is here. The transition has already begun. And if you do not move now, if you do not align yourself with God's will, you may miss what He has been preparing for you. This is not the time to hesitate. If you are hearing this message, it is because God is trying to shake you awake one last time. Will you listen, or will you keep ignoring the signs? The greatest tragedy of life is not death. It's getting to the end of your journey and realizing you never became who God created you to be. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't chosen, but because you were deceived. You must understand this: the enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. If he can keep your mind preoccupied with things that don't matter, if he can keep your spirit entangled in fear and doubt, if he can keep you constantly waiting for the perfect moment, then he has already won. Because the greatest trick of the enemy is not to take you out, it's to keep you stagnant. Think about it. Look at the world around you. Everything is designed to keep people asleep. The enemy has crafted a system so deceptive, so well disguised, that most people never realize they are trapped. The media fills your mind with fear, division, and hopelessness, keeping you from believing in the future God has for you. Social media keeps you addicted to comparison, making you feel like you are never good enough to walk in your purpose. The education system teaches you to be obedient to the world's way of thinking, rather than learning how to discern God's wisdom. The financial system forces you into survival mode, keeping you so busy chasing money that you have no time to chase your calling. Entertainment numbs your soul, giving you temporary pleasure but keeping you spiritually empty. Everything around you is designed to keep you distracted, discouraged, and disconnected from your divine assignment. And the truth is, most people fall for it. The enemy's plan is not always obvious. He doesn't always attack in the form of obvious destruction. Sometimes his greatest weapon is comfort. If he can make you comfortable in your distractions, comfortable in mediocrity, comfortable in a life that is good enough, then he knows you'll never push yourself to become great. So people settle. They settle for jobs they hate because it feels safe. They settle for relationships that drain them because they're afraid to be alone. They settle for a life that is predictable but unfulfilling because it's easier than stepping into the unknown. They settle for religion instead of true relationship with God because it's easier to follow rules than to live by faith. And what happens? They miss their calling. One of the biggest lies that keeps people trapped is the lie of one day. One day. I'll start that business one day. I'll write that book one day. I'll leave this toxic situation and step into my purpose one day. I'll fully commit to God. But one day turns into never. The enemy knows that if he can convince you to delay your purpose, he can steal it from you completely. And here's the truth: God will not force you to step into your calling. He will give you signs. He will send people to guide you. He will open doors for you, but he will not force you to walk through them. If you keep ignoring the signs, if you keep rejecting his direction, if you keep choosing fear over faith, God will let you. He will let you stay where you are. He will let you settle for less than what you were created for. He will let you watch others step into their purpose while you remain stuck in the same cycle. Because God honors free will, many people think the scariest thing in life is failure. But the truth is, the scariest thing is regret. Imagine standing before God at the end of your life and realizing that you had everything you needed to become great, but you never used it. God gave you gifts, but you never used them. God gave you opportunities, but you never took them. God gave you a calling, but you ignored it. Do not let this be your story. The world is shifting. A great separation is happening. The chosen ones are waking up, stepping into their divine authority, and fulfilling their purpose. But most people will miss it. Most people will stay asleep. Most people will stay stuck. Will you? God's call is not just an invitation, it's a divine assignment. It is a path that leads to your true destiny, your highest potential, and the fulfillment of your soul's purpose. Yet, far too many people hear the call but choose to ignore it. They push it aside, delay it for another time, or convince themselves that it wasn't really for them. But ignoring God's call comes with serious consequences, some of which you may not see until it's too late. The loss of divine protection. When God calls you, He is also leading you to a place of protection and provision. He knows what's ahead. He sees the traps the enemy has set for you. He knows the storms that are coming. And when He calls you to move, it is often to shield you from something you cannot yet see. In the Bible, when Lot and his family were told to leave Sodom, it wasn't just about relocation, it was about protection. God saw the coming destruction, but Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. She hesitated, she clung to the past, and it cost her everything. How many people are spiritually frozen in place because they refuse to move when God told them to? Doors begin to close. God is merciful, but His timing is perfect. When He opens a door for you, it is for a specific season. If you delay too long, that door may not stay open forever. Some opportunities are once in a lifetime. Some divine connections only come for a short window. Some assignments must be completed before a certain time. If you keep saying, "I'll do it later," you may wake up one day and realize that later never came. The people who were meant to help you have moved on. The resources you needed have dried up. The season of favor has shifted, and suddenly, you find yourself stuck in a place you were never meant to stay. The enemy gains ground. When you ignore God's call, you give the enemy access to your life. Disobedience creates spiritual openings that allow confusion, doubt, and fear to creep in. The longer you stay outside of God's will, the harder it becomes to hear His voice clearly. You start second-guessing yourself. You start feeling disconnected. You start experiencing unnecessary struggles because you are fighting battles you were never meant to fight. Think of Jonah. God called him to Nineveh, but he ran in the opposite direction. What happened? A storm came. The entire ship he was on was in danger because of his disobedience, and eventually, he was swallowed by a great fish. Some storms in life are not normal, they are divine interruptions trying to get you back on track. Regret is the greatest pain. The worst consequence of ignoring God's call is the pain of regret. Looking back on your life and realizing that you wasted years, that you missed out on what you were created for, that you let fear, doubt, or comfort keep you from stepping into your greatness. Many people think God will always wait, that they can live however they want now and get serious later. But what if later never comes? What if the people you were meant to help never receive what they needed because you stayed silent? What if the business, the ministry, the mission God gave you never gets fulfilled because you were too afraid to start? What if your destiny gets passed to someone else because you refuse to step into it? God will not force you to obey, but the truth is, if you don't answer the call, He will find someone who will. It's not too late, but time is running out. The good news is that as long as you are breathing, it's not too late. You can still choose to follow God's call. You can still step into your divine assignment. You can still fulfill your purpose. But you must act now. God is speaking. He is calling His chosen ones to rise. He is shifting things in the Spirit. Do not delay. Do not ignore it. Do not wait until it's too late. The consequences of ignoring God's call are too great, but the blessings of obedience are beyond anything you could imagine. Will you answer? This is not the time to hesitate. This is not the time to second guess. The signs are all around you. The warnings have been given, and the shift is already happening. If you are one of God's chosen ones, you cannot afford to ignore this any longer. You have been called for a reason. And now, more than ever, you must take action. 1. Surrender completely to God's will. The first and most important step is total surrender. You cannot walk in divine power while still clinging to your old ways. Whatever God has been asking you to release, whether it's a toxic relationship, a sinful habit, a fear of stepping into your purpose, you must let it go. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. This is the moment to say, God, I give you everything. Lead me, guide me, and use me as you will. 2. Purify your spirit and mind. The enemy works through confusion, distractions, and deception. You must guard your heart and mind against anything that weakens your spirit. Cut off negative influences, whether it's toxic people, social media distractions, or anything pulling you away from God's presence. Immerse yourself in prayer and fasting. Seek God's wisdom like never before. Fill your mind with truth. Spend time in the Word of God daily. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. You cannot afford to be spiritually weak in this season. Your clarity, discernment, and strength depend on how deeply connected you are to God. 3. Step into your assignment without fear. Many of you already know what God has called you to do, but you've been delaying it. Maybe you've been waiting for the perfect time, the perfect resources, or the perfect confidence. But the time is now. If God told you to start that ministry, start now. If He told you to write that book, write now. If He told you to speak up, to move, to change directions, do it now. Faith without works is dead. James 2:26. Faith is not just believing, it's moving. It's stepping forward even when you don't see the whole picture. 4. Separate yourself from those who are not aligned. Not everyone can go where God is taking you. Some people will try to hold you back, discourage you, or distract you. You need to recognize who is in your life for a season and who is meant to walk with you into the next chapter. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? 2 Corinthians 6:14. Let go of anyone and anything that is keeping you spiritually stagnant. Surround yourself with those who are also walking in truth. 5. Stay watchful. The enemy is desperate. When you begin to obey God, expect resistance. The enemy knows he is losing control over you, and he will try to attack through fear, discouragement, and distractions. But do not be afraid. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. You have authority over the enemy. Keep praying, keep fasting, keep standing on God's promises. The victory is already yours, but you must stay alert and remain faithful. There are no more excuses. There is no more time to waste. This is the season of action. If you ignore this call, you will regret it later. But if you move now, if you surrender, if you obey, you will step into a level of divine power and purpose beyond anything you have ever imagined. Are you ready? Then rise up, step forward, and walk in the destiny God has prepared for you. This is not just another message. This is not just another warning. This is your divine wake-up call, your final reminder that the time to step into your purpose is now. No more hesitation. No more waiting for a sign. This is the sign. God has given you everything you need. He has been preparing you, shaping you, refining you through every trial, every setback, and every challenge. Nothing you have gone through was in vain. Every moment of pain, every tear, every disappointment, it was all part of the process of making you into the person you were always meant to be. But here's the truth. If you do not step into your purpose now, you will miss what God has prepared for you. For many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 20:14. You are one of the chosen. But being chosen is not enough. You must also choose to walk in your calling. 1. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Many of you have been delaying your calling, saying, "I'll do it when I'm ready. I'll do it when I have more time. I'll do it when I feel confident." But the perfect moment will never come. The only moment you have is now. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11:4. God does not need you to be perfect, He just needs you to be willing. When you take the first step, He will guide the rest. 2. Break free from fear and doubt. The enemy wants you to believe that you are not good enough, that you are not ready, that you will fail. But the enemy is a liar. You are already equipped with everything you need to succeed. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. To Timothy 1:7. Step out in faith. God is with you. 3. Use your gifts for God's glory. You were not created to live an ordinary life. You were not called to blend in with the crowd. You were chosen to shine. Whatever gift God has placed inside you, whether it's speaking, writing, teaching, leading, healing, use it. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Your gifts are not just for you, they are meant to bless others. The world needs what God has placed inside you. 4. Stop wasting time with the wrong people. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your destiny. Some people are distractions. Some people are sent by the enemy to pull you away from your purpose. Let them go. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. If someone is not pushing you closer to God, they are pulling you away. Choose your circle wisely. 5. Stay focused. This is a critical time. The world is shifting. The spiritual battle is intensifying. You cannot afford to be distracted. This is not the time to be lukewarm. You must be fully committed to your calling. But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Matthew 6:33. Make God your priority, and everything else will fall into place. There is no more time to waste. You have been warned. You have been prepared. You have been called. Now it's time to move. If you ignore this, if you delay any longer, you will miss what God has for you. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. Revelation 3:11. Do not let anyone take your crown. Step into your purpose now. The kingdom needs you. The world is waiting, and God is watching. Will you answer the call? This is it, the final moment of decision. You have heard the warning. You have received the message, and now the choice is in your hands. God has placed a calling on your life, but He will not force you to walk in it. He is giving you the opportunity, the wisdom, and the strength, but it is up to you to act. I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live. Deuteronomy 30:19. There are only two paths before you. One leads to purpose, power, and divine fulfillment. The other leads to delay, regret, and missed destiny. The truth is, there is no middle ground. Ignoring this message is still making a choice to stay the same. A choice to remain stuck. A choice to reject the very thing you were created for. God has been patient. He has been giving you signs. He has been preparing you. But there is a window of opportunity, and that window is closing. Will you rise up and step into your calling? Or will you let fear, doubt, and distractions keep you from your destiny? Will you choose to trust God completely? Or will you allow the enemy to convince you that you have more time? So then, because you are lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will vomit you out of my mouth. Revelation 3:16. This is not a game. This is not a rehearsal. This is the moment of decision. Enough waiting. Enough hesitating. The hour is late. This is the wake-up call. This is your final warning. Behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me. to give to everyone according to his work. Revelation 20:12. If you know this message is speaking to you, do not delay any longer. Get into alignment. Seek God like never before. Cut off the things that are holding you back. Walk boldly in your purpose. If this message has reached you, it was not by accident. Declare your decision in the comments. Type "I am ready" if you are stepping into your calling. Type "No more delay" if you refuse to wait any longer. Like this video, share it, and make sure others hear this warning. You never know whose life could be changed by this message. God is watching. The time is now. The decision is yours. What will you choose?